Welcome to Tampa, Florida here for the inaugural, well, we're not inaugural, but this is the third Raymond James Supercross here in the 2023 season, which is the 50th anniversary of Supercross. So got a special guest here for the Dunlop Motorcycle Track Walk. We got Kyle Chisholm.
What's going on?
And his teammate, Shane McElrath, who is the 250cc World Supercross champion, so SX2. So got a couple of Suzuki riders here for the Twisted T and Progressive Suzuki team, so we're ready to go and check out this track.
Yes, sir.
So, how much history do you know? Chiz, you are local, big time local. This week you have been doing so much press. You were on center ice of the Tampa Bay Lightnings introducing Supercross. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it was exciting. Busy week. It's always exciting to have the home race, all the family, friends, and just being able to sleep in your own bed. I live like 20 minutes from here, so that's all nice. But then with that comes all like the added stress of like, I probably have 100 family, friends coming tonight, and just passes and all that stuff. And then obviously the opportunity to do a lot of media stuff. So did a lot of news, radio stuff this week. And then Tuesday night, I got to go to the Tampa Bay Lightning game. Center ice, like you said, did some announcing, promoting the race, gave some tickets away, and it was a lot of fun. Busy, but a fun week.
And then I hit you up to do this track walk. So there you go.
That's icing on the cake. Let's do it.
So back to the stats of this. I mean, this is, I think, the 14th time that the Supercross has been here in the Tampa Bay, St. Pete area. 3 different stadiums. We had the original Tampa Stadium that was torn down, and then for the Raymond James Stadium built right next door. But also we had one Tropicana Dome race where the Rays play, the baseball stadium. So do you remember that, or is that before your time?
I don't remember the one in Tropicana. I know right where it is, obviously, but the earliest I remember is probably like around that 96 to 99 time when we were in Tampa. Jeremy McGrath was my hero, you know, so I came as a kid to those races. I think one of them was a mutter, right? Like 99, I think was a mutter. Typical, you know, Tampa. We might have one of those today, so we'll talk about that.
Yeah, that 99 might have been the one Kevin Windham won. That guy can ride. That guy can ride mud like nobody's business. So let's check out the track right here. A little shorter layout than we've seen the last couple of weeks. I think this one's a little over 1,800 feet. I mean, typically we see around 2,000. Anaheim, we've had a 2,100. Houston was right around that area too. So lap times are going to be a little bit quicker. But let's head down the start right here. So taking a guesstimate measurement on the start here, and you can see the dirt here in Tampa. I mean, Kyle, you're local. Where did they get this dirt? Man. This does not look like typical Florida dirt.
I talked to the Dirtworks guys yesterday. I was kind of not giving them a hard time. I was like, man, where'd you guys get this dirt, of all the dirt in Florida? But honestly, there's so many variations of dirt in Florida, I feel like, just growing up. There's a lot that are just sand, like bottomless sand. You get a lot of that like orange baseball clay, or you get this hard black kind of rocky clay. A lot of variations, different tracks you go to around the state. And this is definitely the hard pack, little rocky, like little pebbles. Gets very slick, very tacky when the moisture's just right, but that window of the moisture being right is tough. It gets really hard and slick.
Yep, so we're coming up on the first turn here. Nice wide corner, no question. It's taking a measurement off of the sand section over the right. You did talk about the sand there. Back to the other corner. We'll see that later in the track walk going the opposite way. That's about 200 feet. So I'm thinking this first turn, probably 220, 221, whatever it takes, right?
Yeah, it's a nice, it's not the longest start, but it's not a short one either. I feel like it's a nice one that lets us open up, space out a little bit, and we have a nice wide first turn here. So that should be a nice, safe turn and allow us to kind of separate a little bit.
So we have your teammate Shane. Shane, what's your thoughts? I mean, Kyle mentioned a little bit of small stones in the dirt here. Does that pose a problem? A little extra, chest protector, or you think it's not really that big of a deal?
With the size of these, it's more so the same size of some of the dirt clods. So I don't think the rocks are too big of a deal. As the dirt dries out, which yesterday when we rode it, it was like 2 totally different types of dirt, and so they put a lot of water down, and it looks like a different dirt from yesterday, but it actually soaked in. So the Anaheim dirt's it'll sit on top.
Yeah, I came down an hour ago and looked at the track, and it looked really muddy. So I ran back, took my tennis shoes off, switched onto some muddy track boots, and it is drying out so quickly it's almost it was unnecessary to do the shoe change. But you can see there was definitely a lot of water been added to it by the Dirtworks crew. the one thing that we noticed yesterday in press day, because they had a forecast of this evening of about a 60% chance of showers starting around 6 or 7 o'clock, just in time for the main opening ceremonies. But that being said, they didn't put a whole lot of water on it, and boy, it got hard packed in press day, didn't it?
Yeah, it was very slick.
Thought it was in a SoCal 1980s Adobe track at Carlsbad, but it was really, really hard. So guys coming over talking to us at the Dunlop truck going, what do you guys think? They're looking to get some more extra hard pack traction, and being in Florida, that's a little different. So
yeah, I really feel like, you know, on a track like this, tires are very important. When the dirt changes from like that nice grippy tacky stuff to the wet slick or the dry slick, it changes quite a bit as we go through the day. So tires are very important. When there's a little less traction, the tires come into play a lot more.
Okay, coming out of this first corner, what's your feeling? You guys did not get to ride this section yesterday, so coming out, little maybe wheel hop or just hop 2 and then easily 3 here, or you think you're going to go all the way up to the table behind
I feel like it's going to be a little tough just because we're coming in before this. We have the finish line, and it's a really big finish line, throws you up there really high, but it's a pretty flat corner, right? There's not much of a bank there, so some guys might land the finish line and hug it really tight to where it maybe sets different setup coming in. Some guys might swing it a little wide, a little more speed, where you maybe get a little wheel tap. I think it's going to vary. You might do a little like wheel tap triple, roll double, and then step onto this table. Or you could double and hop over this single and then jump from the face of the tabletop. So I think that's something that we'll have to kind of keep an eye on.
Any chance from the jumper standing on right here, you could get over that knob on that? That'd be a tricky one. If you miss it, that would be a penal mistake.
You don't want to clip that one.
No,
but if you could, it'd be nice, because then you might miss that next big jump.
All right, we'll get a little run at this shot here just to keep us from hitting the deck. Yep, absolutely. You see right here, a little knuckle here,
very
so
steep.
pretty much pop. The stock line's going to be pop this, clear that following one right
step
there.
on, step off, and
then
just
triple into it, because the triple's a high. You got like a 5.34 maybe. It looks it's not really a 5.35 there in the height. So where we see right there.
A big line that could come into play, I don't know, but if you did like a little double and jump the tabletop maybe all the way over that big one there and then double into the corner, but just depends on how that pocket is before the tabletop, how much you can get into there and get the drive.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get running here. We've yet to have a fall on a track walk, but it's coming.
It's a very fine line of like where it's good.
There we go. Yeah, we see Chance Hymas there, had his rookie debut at Houston. That was a pro race for Supercross. He did a great job. We had a bunch of rookies last week at Houston that did really, really well. Pretty impressed. Did you get a chance to watch any of the rookie class there last week?
I did a little bit, not a lot, but just mainly TV stuff, because it's hard in between. So, but man, like Deegan, they all looked really good. The clips that I saw, they all looked really impressive, and obviously Deegan with a fourth or whatever was really good.
Hey, Chance, you got a second here? My Idaho friend, I have a house in Idaho, so we got a little bonding there. But Chance, you had a great debut last week. You ran right up front, especially in the heat. You were in battling there for lead, and then slipped back for 8th for the main, right? It was that which was so. But you had a great debut. What did you think of it?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a good experience. I mean, you can't replicate a race scenario like that. So it's just I got out front and I tightened up really quick. I wasn't breathing, but I'm just excited to give it another go this weekend.
Well, you got a great team underneath the HRC team, Honda HRC, and you've got Hunter Lawrence as a teammate, obviously Chase and the group there. So you've got a good mentors ahead of you. So we're looking for a good performance tonight. So good luck.
Yeah, looking to improve a little bit this weekend. But yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks. Chance Hymas there on the 832 Honda. Yeah, we had a good rookie class last week. I think we had four rookies in the top maybe 11 finishes or something last week. So, so speaking of rides, I was doing a little homework on you, and Kyle, I counted 292 AMA Pro starts, and I'll bet I'm under the number.
Maybe. I haven't kept track at this point.
That's crazy. I started counting. I'm like, oh my gosh, I had to start writing them down in case I got lost. 292. So you turned pro in 2004. Just one race, right? Steel City. Right after Loretta.
After Loretta, I just did my first pro race. Like
following year in 05, you just did a couple, 2 or 3, right?
So I had a big injury right after that. Right after that first pro race, I planned on turning pro in 05. Broke my humerus, compound fractured it. I was out for about 5 months. got back on the bike. I said, okay, I might actually, the arm never healed right, re-broke it, and I was out. Basically, I was out almost that whole year. So then 06 was my first full year being pro. So kind of delayed me a year, which was a bummer. But for those that haven't seen, that's my big scar that I got on my arm there. And yeah, so one big injury that turned into two, kind of delayed me a little bit.
Well,
but,
20 years of racing pro and having literally, you've had, I saw 3 years that you actually did 28 races. So that's a full season there. But to start your career off with a big injury like that, that's a big setback for a young rider. Yeah, it's tough, you know, like at that stage of your career, you know, turning from amateur to pro, you're trying to get a ride and lock a ride down, and it's not good timing, but you know, it is what it is. I've always just tried to make the best of whatever I had, and I think that's what's kind of kept my career going so long, is to just make the best and do the best with what I could. Perfect. So looking back here, Shane, if you can go back to the camera. So we got the 180 here. It's, you know, it's kind of a standard bowl corner, perfectly groomed. Popping out of it, clearly you're going to hit the single, clear this right here. Do you think the 450s, do you think you're going to see anybody hit all three there? Yeah, so I think it just depends how the turn shapes up. I think that's what we're going to try to do, is go ahead and triple this. You have a lot of speed going into the whoops. But it really depends. How tore up does the turn get? How does the lip of the jump get? It looks kind of short and steep, so maybe a little kicky. So it just kind of depends how it pops us up. It could turn in, I bet, for a lot of the 250 guys, it'll be kind of like a single double, but not roll it. You'll kind of bounce into the face of this big one and pop over the last one. Yeah, well, you see, definitely looking. Jason Anderson checking it out. Yeah, if you carry the triple here, there's no question all the speed you want as you enter these whoops right here. And this whoops coming up, no whoops are easy to be for mere mortals, but these to me look a little tamer than we've seen. Counting this little pre-whoop, I call it, because you unload the bike bit, there's 15 of them right in a row, which is one of the longest sections we've had. So it's a full-length set of whoops, but they looked, you know, they're dozer whoops. They're kind of the typical spec, 14 feet from tip to tip, but they look a little rounded, and for this standard, this level, they look medium to me. Right? They're not super easy. Right. I think what's going to be tricky here is, like you said, they're not the biggest whoops, but they're very long. So that's going to be tough, and I think they're going to get very slippery. This dirt's going to get hard packed. You're going to get cupped out, a bunch of edges and holes in the face of these, and they're going to get slick. So I think that's what's going to be the tricky part of them. It's not necessarily the size, but the traction and the length of them. Yeah, you got a lot of them right in a row, so there's no question. Being a little taller guy, you probably don't mind these. Last week, tell us about your Houston. You had a little trouble, and you ended up having to go to LCQ, and then from the LCQ, you had a pretty good little crash there, right? Sent you to the trailer, right? Yeah, my whole day in Houston just wasn't good, just for me personally. I didn't ride good all day. Changed some stuff on the bike, just still learning the bike. You know, I haven't had a lot of time on it, and you have a new suspension guy that's come in that I've worked with a bunch personally, so that's nice, but making some changes on the bike, and we made a lot of progress. But honestly, I rode bad all day, didn't ride good. Put myself in bad situations, had to go to the LCQ, didn't have a good start, and then, just try to catch up. It's such a short race, and ended up pretty bad. I like Freddie. I honestly didn't even know it was him, but I was going in there trying to make you guys collided there. Yeah, trying to make last corner pass, but I didn't expect him to cut down, so it's racing. It's for the LCQ. It's for making it to Maine. No apologies necessary. All been there. So looking down here, like you stay up here, I'll stand here. And just to kind of reiterate, you're a 6 foot plus guy. You know, I mean, these are some pretty serious whoops. Even though I said earlier they're kind of medium, easier medium. So they're not super steep. Right. But they are pretty tall. Like as far as height goes, they're not super steep. But like I said, I think the biggest thing is the length and and how slick that dirt's going to get. The other thing we'll talk about up here, they end really close to this next corner. Right. So with this long of a set of whoops, you have to have the speed to stay on top, but you're also going to have to slow down really quick for this next corner into this 90-degree turn. So as a rider, I asked some of the riders that have co-hosted with me, like, what do you do in the whoops? Do you look 2 or 3 out? Do you just try to look at the tips where you want your front wheel to land? Because you certainly don't want to skip one with your front, because then your front end drops. So badly. Do you just look like right here at the tops of the whoops, and is that what you kind of just focus on? So I like to really look, like you said, maybe 2 or 3 whoops ahead, but like in my peripheral, right? Kind of keep your eye on that one that you're actually going to hit, and just be kind of just looking at, because you're going so fast. If you look at the one you're going to hit, but by the time you hit it, you're already on the next one, and then you got to keep looking. So I like to just keep my gaze like just over the tops, and just kind of keep my eye on those 3 or so right in front of me. Very good, very good. Honestly, it reminds me, for some stupid reason in my life, I actually raced some boats in my quote unquote off season a few times, and it was very much like that. You just had to read the tips of the waves. Yep. And it was similar when I jumped behind a wheel of a Baja truck too. You're just looking for the big tall ones, and then whoops, kind of the same thing. Just focus on the tips. Yep. You start dropping your eyes, you're going to start dropping that front wheel, and it's not what you want to do. So you talked about this immediately coming out of the whoops. You want to make sure you're not out of shape, because there's no real big berm here. If you go wide, this is flat. You're going straight out, and there's only 15, 20 feet before the wall, and doesn't look real padded there. It looks all metal. I would not want to be out there. But
you don't want to
coming into here, right out of this, pretty much you're going to want to try. Yesterday's press day, you guys were just doing a loop right here, so you really weren't. Did you ever come out wide and hit this just to test it?
We were trying to kind of come all the way out to here just because it was such a tight turn to even clear this double to get the triple. So it was kind of an awkward thing, but that's typical for press day.
Right, all right.
But yeah, like I said, you're going to have so much speed coming in with no berm, and it's a tight corner. So that's going to be a tricky part of these whoops as well.
Yeah, look at this right here. If you're on the inside right there, this is not going to be the easiest seat balance, but there'll be guys doing it, I'm sure. There'll be seat balance, and luckily this is a little rounded on top.
Yeah.
And then you're setting up for what is measured out as 70 feet. So that's within the range of normal or standard in the triple jump world.
And we got to ride this on press yesterday. It's very steep.
Is it?
This one in the finish line, the triples are basic, typically, 65 to 75 feet each week, but man, the angle of takeoff and all that can definitely change the way it is, the landing, what's before it, what's after it, and this one is definitely a steep one. Throws us up there pretty good.
Yeah, it's no question here as we walk just to the side of this one. I mean, Shane doesn't want to get his feet too dirty. They're understandable, man. It's
hey, I don't know if we'd make it over those three without crashing ourselves right now.
It wasn't walking up the face. It was the backside that you can see all the riders sliding down here on track walk, and then after 2 or 3 of those people doing that, I think people took the optional lane there. So again, nice little short but very steep bowl corner right here.
This one's got a nice berm compared to the corner before.
Nice little roller. This one, sometimes when I do these track walks, I walk them and I'm thinking to myself, like, what do you think they're going to do here? Yesterday I walked it. The very first time I looked at it, I was like, I know exactly what they're going to be doing here. Most of the riders, and it was exactly that. So talk us through what you were doing on this section.
Yeah. So here there's really 3 options, but I think 2 are the main ways. Come to this corner, you could come to the inside after the triple and just go single, and then you go step on, step off. Or you could kind of set up, not even to the berm, but kind of middle of the corner, and go double and then table over the single. And then I didn't do it, but I saw a few guys rail that berm and triple all the way onto that tabletop and then step off of it.
So looks a long ways. We're up just over the top where Kenny is right there, your teammate there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
it's a long triple onto that thing from how tight this corner is. So, but it is a really nice berm. I think that might be a fast lap line, but maybe not like a main event line. So.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. So if you come out of the single here, do you think from this here downside the table and then you can go
I think just step on, step off.
Yeah,
you could I saw some guys downside the table and then jump into the dragon back. But then it's tricky because skimming that dragon back, blitzing is the fastest.
Yeah, we'll see the dragon back. No question. The best line on the dragon back was skimming it and then pop. Whoa. I told you, dude. I'm telling you. Saved it. It's not going to be. This is it there.
I took the bad line there. Missed that one.
So, again, you're talking about this. You want to downside. Get into the dragon backs as we're coming up to the dragon backs. Just focus on that last one, knowing that that's going to be your launching point.
Yeah.
And
Kenny, so you think we should just get a couple of margaritas and an umbrella, some chairs,
lawn chair,
hang out a little bit?
I'd be totally fine with that.
Need sandals on and change our shoes.
Kiddie pool maybe?
Yes, yeah, for the kids. Yeah.
What do you think, Kenny? What's track layout? What do you?
I mean, it looks good. I mean, there's some tricky section, right? We have a long set of whoops. After the star, it's really peaky right there, and they built that big tabletop again with a big knuckle. It's like one of those things where you can maybe triple off of it, but that freaking thing is a wall.
Only for the fast guys can triple off of it. I said they weren't doing it, and then he proved me wrong in Anaheim. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, I know that's one of those sections you gotta just feel it out, right? Like you can plan on it right now, and it never happens. It's just one of those things, like momentum-wise, you just gotta kind of look ahead when you land and see if you can pop it. But looks pretty good. I mean, Tampa is known for the sand as well, right?
Hey, you know, that's Clearwater Beach. You got to say Clearwater Beach. That's what I was told. You know? So,
sure it is.
So let's put you on the spot here. How's Chiz having 20 years he's been, this is 20 seasons he's been technically a pro. How is he for a teammate?
We've had plenty of laughs because I have these photos of me racing Minio. I think it was my second year, and I was posing with the trophies, you know what I mean? And he texted me.
He's on like an 85.
Hey. Yeah, I was on an 85, and he's like, hey, that's me on the trophies. It was funny. We've had a lot of laughs about it.
Oh, good. That's great. And seems like you're real comfortable back on the Suzuki. You look great on it. So good luck tonight. Have another good finish.
Yep.
All right. Yep. So Kenny Roczen there, and again back on the colors that. I mean, in my mind, I always see him on, you know, you're kind of synonymous with the Suzuki brand because he came up at a young age.
That's what I can remember first seeing him on a Suzuki, like in the GPs and all that. So yeah, it's definitely cool.
And here, you guys have been working with a guy that I've known since he's been on mini bikes, Mr. Larry Brooks. I mean, Larry, you have been, you've been team manager on some very, very, very successful teams. I mean, you worked with James Stewart, championship runs on Yamahas. I mean, all the different things that you've done. And how is it being back kind of at the helm of a big league team with a big league rider?
Kind of forgot how much work it was. You know, you have to really dig in and do the work, but it's exciting. It's exciting to go to the race and be able to win an event. So yeah, it's super fun.
That's nice. Well, good luck out there, man. I just Larry was working with the Bar X team last year and moved him up to the Twisted T Progressive Insurance Suzuki program, and he's got really two teams to run. I mean, it's a little different with Kenny with his Red Bull affiliation. That was a little bit of a, you know, had to be creative, how to figure out how to work it with the Twisted T, and so you guys separated the teams a little bit. You actually are on the Twisted T version, and Kenny's Dato, he's on a slightly different program where also you have a minor, another local San Diego. Dylan Schwartz is on that team, and since he's a minor, he can't be on an alcohol-based team, so it makes some sense. So
exactly.
There you go. Burner, what's up? Michael Byrne works with a lot of the top riders. If you ever need some good advice, this guy's about as good as it gets in the industry. That's for certain. At least my opinion, which I don't know a whole bunch. I hope so. He's been one of my fellow MX Combine coaches, and we've had a good time doing that. I did 3 of them last year, right? So, yeah, it was fun. We got to work with a lot of these top riders. The amateur kids, you see how many of them I think there was 11 of them last week, and I think we worked with about 10 of them. So very cool. Good seeing you, Michael. So coming out of the Dunlop, we got out of that corner. Triple was just a standard triple. We talked about it. Off the knuckle, single, triple. Almost everyone was doing that. Dunlop 180 there. Coming out of that, and all of a sudden, this is where you're looking for tinted goggle lenses. This is crazy. This is bright white. I mean, it's blinding. Honestly, it's a sugary sand. I know they do talk about this coming from more the Clearwater Beach area, which makes sense. The Clearwater Beach famous for the white sands. But they do have a base dirt underneath it here. These first 3 jumps actually are traditional jumps
with sand
coated. If you look down underneath here, Shane, if you could see this, underneath you'll see the brown dirt. There's actually dirt underneath. Now it changes. Everything changes up here. Once you go over this knoll right here where you see the riders up here conversing here, this turns into nothing but bottomless sand. I mean, it's... Boy, if we were racing on something like this for the whole track, you would certainly be reaching for the MX-14 paddle tire, huh?
We need an option to do a instant tire swap before this section. Get the MX-14 on there and then switch it back right at the end.
Exactly. You could change goggle lenses and you could do the.
Maybe one day it'll be there. I don't know.
I don't think the lenses they have now that do change, they don't change quickly enough to make up for this. But this is going to be crazy. It looks smooth. It doesn't look much. Wait till they start getting some tire tracks in this thing.
The thing about it is wavy. It's so fine. Like the dirt is such a fine sand that the lines don't really like form and stay. They always change. So every time you come back around, 21 other guys have already been through it, and the lines are different every time. It's really hard to get a line that really holds and you can hit it consistently. You're like, okay, where am I going to go this lap? And you're just, okay, keep it straight.
Well, growing up in Florida, you're used to that stuff. It's like Southwick was. You have 40 riders on the track. You make this perfect berm. You go ripping through it. You come back, and the next lap, it's blown out.
Gone.
So, similar situation right here. Sugary sand, and that's what you said. Really, really fine. And Another rider, Johnny O over there off to the right. Johnny, what's going on? How are you doing? Good? Everything good? Yep, everything good? How's the camp? Lawrence Brothers and all the guys doing?
They're really good. Probably everybody can see that. So we just started kind of what we thought too.
Look how soft the berm is. Like, yeah, just sink.
Everyone's seen the jet raise to the tail. It's impressive.
Yeah, very good. I know it's not often. I mean, you've been around as long as I have, and you see a talent like that. It's kind of once in a generation talent. You see, I mean, he just looks like he's not even. To me, it's effortless. He's not. Looks like he's not going that fast, and then you see him pulling away from the field. So
yeah, you hit it on the nail. Like I use the word efficient. The most efficient guy in our sport, in my opinion. So heart rates are down, everything. So like when he needs to go up in those, make something happen, he can step it up.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to be in any sports. That kind of control. That's pretty lethal.
No, very much so. You're not running at the red limit, or the red line. So when you need to go over it, or get up to it, you can, and it's a next level.
Wow, you got a little one here, a little.
All right, well, good talking to you, Johnny. Awesome, good to see you. Bye bye. So Johnny O'Mara, multi-time champion, Hall of Famer, and now this I want to talk to Chiz about. Chiz, tell me about this, brother. This right here is gonna be tricky. You guys,
it's tight right here.
Come over this little roller right here, and you're going to be going pretty fast, and you're going to be doing the best you can to kind of stay in control.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to hit this knob that we're at and make that corner. That radius is so tight, it's going to get blown out, don't you think?
It is tight. We're going to be coming in here really fast, and it is nice though. They made us a couple options, right? We hit the outside or the inside, because sand typically it'll kind of form up into just one big berm.
Right.
So it's nice that we have this option of something hit on the inside. It is super soft. I mean, as you can see, it's
just put your foot through this thing.
So I think it's going to change. Like I said, it's going to change a lot. You have a little single coming out to slow this down. But honestly, I think we're going to have a rut right through that thing. It's just going to blow through.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's just going to be constantly changing. And we might start today with the inside being fast, and then the outside might get fast. And you might be watching in the main event, and one side might be faster, and then halfway through the main event, you got to switch lines and figure out that the other way is faster. So really keep your eyes open and be paying attention to that.
Especially if you take the inside and somebody comes blowing around you, and they're shifting in third as they exit the corner, and you're struggling to get out of the corner.
Yeah.
A little cheat thing here. I did talk to the crew, the Dirtworks crew, and I know that they will be playing with this all night to try to figure out the way to make the two lanes as close as possible. And so one lane is not a big advantage over the other.
Yeah.
So here you pop back out, leave the sugary sands here, onto a straightaway, and I mentioned it's about 200 feet, headed straight back down.
Yeah.
So this track is from the, looking at it from the top, it's kind of a 2-3 lane. So you have 3 lanes going this way. And 2 lanes going that way. But in reality, this is your 3rd lane for this side of the stadium. So it's a 6-lane course, not pretty traditional in a football stadium configuration, as opposed to the baseball stadiums that tend to have a couple of turns and switchbacks and things.
The footballs being rectangle, they don't really have as many options, right? The floor's not as big and it's rectangle. Baseballs, they have a little bit more to kind of play with, but honestly, these football, the back and forth with some nice 180 bull corners, really sets up for some good racing usually. So.
Yep, and Shane, if you can scan up, we all want to see that pirate ship, the Buccaneer ship up there. That's synonymous with this stadium. Stadium holds about 69 to 75,000, kind of varies depending on what the configuration is. But we have the first 4 or 5 rows, safety. They're all bannered off, but it's probably sitting at about a 65,000 configuration, maybe 64. Yeah. Hopefully we get a nice big crowd. Again, it's the 3rd time we've had Supercross here. We had a Kevin Windham win, and then in 18 Eli Tomac won on a Cowie, and then 2020 he won on the Yamaha. So he's actually the only rider to win on 2 different brands here.
Yeah, that's
and an
cool.
old El Cajon, I saw Larry Brooks there. He lived in El Cajon for a long time. But Mike Craig won his first Supercross in the Tampa area at the Tampa Stadium. So that was pretty cool for him to win it. It's like, I think it was like February 12th or something, just one day difference in the calendar with where we are now.
That's awesome.
Coming out of this corner, big block passing corner, not a full 180, but this is going to be a whole bunch of passing going on here, huh?
Yeah, we're going to be flying back down out of that sand, come back down that straightaway. A lot of speed. into this final corner before the finish line. We have a little step on, step off before it, but yeah, this is going to be a wide open turn for some block passes.
I think I saw Freddie Norrin over here looking like, how close can I
Where's he
go to
gonna
the
go?
inside in case that 11 bike's coming?
Yeah.
Joking.
Well, hopefully I'm not there today.
Exactly.
But, hey, I do my best, and that's all we can do. So,
Yeah, so coming in this corner right here, single, right up on top of the double. What's your thoughts? You think, I mean, there's no real advantage.
Yeah. Oh.
Shane, good save, brother. There you go. Our cameraman Shane Doyle
Saved
almost
it.
went down.
Too close calls, but we're
Too
we're
close.
almost
We got to
there.
get some run at that
Yeah.
one. That's slippery
That looks
looking.
like-
So we
Basically here, it's going to be, they put a little knuckle on one side, so
Yep.
going to hit the outside, be a step on, step off. There is the option to maybe hug the inside
Yep.
and not go to the bowl corner, do a single and then table over the single.
Yeah.
On press, we're kind of coming at it at a different angle, and we did both. So I think they might play with this inside a little bit throughout the day too.
Yep.
They talked about yesterday, so it's good shape up
Okay,
into the
so what's your thoughts on, I'm going to get a run here after watching Shane. There we go. So when you tried the single
Yep.
and then hit the base of the table and launch over the final right before the
Yep.
finish line, what was your thoughts on that speed versus coming up, just staying low, hitting this, knuckle and boom? I mean, trying to drive. What do you think was faster?
So that's what's tough. I think the step on, step off is going to be faster.
Okay.
You're going to have so much speed coming down the straightaway, and when you have a nice bowl corner like that, you don't have to slow down a whole lot, right? You can rail that turn, step on, step off, and then to the finish. If you go inside and do the roll, table over single, you got to slow down a lot sooner, and then you really don't have anything to bank off of, right?
Okay.
Then you got to roll, and then you kind of go high on the tabletop. So I talked to them yesterday about playing with the takeoff of this tabletop and just trying to get, just like the sand, trying to get us two options that are kind of even.
Yep.
To
Yep.
yeah,
Trying to
it's
make it
racing.
good for racing.
Yeah.
That's what you want. Yeah. Do that. So we're going to bypass, like you mentioned, this is a pretty darn steep jump.
This-
You guys, I was
this-
standing in one of the press sections up in the team manager's
Yeah.
tower, and it was
I'm-
fun. You guys were getting some aerials on
Yeah,
those.
I'm sure the camera doesn't do any justice, but that thing is steep, for those guys that aren't here.
Yeah.
Nice big double too.
Yeah, we had a couple of Tampa Bay Bucks out here, and
Yep.
it was, I think Aaron Nola, the baseball pitcher
Yes.
for the Phillies was
Phillies,
here.
yep, yep.
And I know the name because his brother is a catcher by San Diego Padres.
Okay.
So I got to watch him in a playoff
Yeah.
game, and it was a lot of press, but it was he was impressed with what you guys were
Yeah,
doing on the
yeah,
bike. So
yeah.
coming off the finish line here, you talked about it, the final corner of our track walk.
Yeah.
Boom, you come off of that big triple, or the big finish line jump, sorry, big double, big air, and then you've got to hit it. You really want to hit it right at the top so you can use all your braking
Yeah, you have
zone.
more room to break down the downside.
Right,
yeah.
because you don't want to
So-
land too far, and then you're way wide in this corner because there's no berm to hit out here.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, we're going to be landing hard on the brakes here, whether you're going inside or outside. And then, like I said, this is where the first turn comes in. It's a nice big flat turn. So you might brake less and kind of swing it wide to get more speed for that next rhythm, or you might try to brake a little harder and keep it tight, depending on how you're going to attack this next rhythm section.
Well, very good. So, well, thank you very much, Kyle Chisholm, and follow you on, what is it, Chiz 11?
Kyle Chiz 11.
Kyle Chiz
Yep.
11. There you
Yep.
go, at Instagram there, and I'm at MX Golden Boy, which I was happy to see you already follow me.
Yeah,
Not that
yeah,
I'm so excited, but thank you very much for tuning into the Dunlop Motorcycle Tires Track Walk here from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. And next week, we're going to go all the way to the West Coast to make up that round 2 so we can get back on schedule and quit calling it round 6, but really the 5th race, blah, blah, blah. So
Confusing
we're going
us,
to
yeah.
finally cross that round 2 race off of our books next week in Oakland. So tune in next week, and we'll see you from the West Coast.
Thanks.